My loves, welcome back. So today we are learning about the magician. It is, for me, it represents manifestation, and it's also about how we connect with our senses and with the elements and with the divine to bring things into our reality. When I see the magician, it is a telltale sign that there's something that the divine is wanting me to move forward with. There's something that has great potential or power. It is a call to inspired action. As we can see here, we have the swords, which represent the element of air. We have the pentacles, which represent our earthly possessions, our health, our materials, and that represents earth. We have the wands, which represent our creative energy or our sexual energy or our passion, represented by the element of fire. We have the cups that represent our emotion or our emotional standpoint, represented by the element of water. And if I didn't say it, the swords represent our mental standpoint. So it's also our ego. It is our decision making. It is our mind. Okay. And so it is how we coalesce all of these different senses and all of these different gifts that we have to push ourselves forward or to call things in from the divine. Many people also view it as like this dancing with the divine or this co-creation, if you will. And so it is heavily implicating that the things that come to us through the divine. We are a vessel of the divine. And so when you realize that, it allows us to kind of have more security to move in on things that bring passion to our soul. One of the things that I like to point out with the magician is someone who is not wasting their time on unworthy projects. This is something that is really going to bring you passion. It's not just an ego-based pursuit with the magician. I mean, it can be for short periods, but the magician, when it's in its full potential, the magician is utilizing something, like I said, that is all encompassing. It is something that's going to bring you money. It is something that's going to mentally stimulate you. It is something that's going to bring you passion and emotionally fulfill you. Okay. So check in with that, like if something is not bringing you the whole package, like the universe really wants to see you win. And that is the energy that I really get with the magician. That's why it's such a fun card. And it's a very empowering card. Now, we will say, like, for example, if the magician were to show up reversed, as we'd said, for example, we'll use a blockage this time. So if the magician is showing up reversed, and you're looking at the shadow aspect of it, we would be looking at someone who is maybe misusing their powers, someone who is being manipulative, maybe someone who is not using all of the things at their disposal. Maybe they're in a victim mindset. Maybe they are handing their power away to an external source, okay? Or maybe they are moving forward with, planning or with ideas that are not really in alignment with all of their gifts in mind. Maybe they're trying to move forward just based off of sexual energy and money and their ego, but they're discarding their emotional aspect. They're not listening to their heart. They're ignoring a part of their intuition that says, I don't think that I'm going to be fully fulfilled with that. Okay. And so that is a really, really good start to the magician. If the magician were to come up, if you were to ask like, oh, should I take this job? Be a hard yes, and it would really show you that there is an opportunity for you to manifest into a higher potential for yourself. Yeah, I think that this is a really powerful card associated with the law of attraction, the law of resonance, calling in, manifesting. But it's also about having a strong link to the divine, a strong link to God, source, creator, and realizing that you have this power. It's stepping into this level of alchemy, this inner alchemy, if you will, and this walking in tandem with the divine. And so many people do this and they don't even realize that they do it. And it's because we are so naturally intertwined with the divine. And, honestly, I think it is a blessing and a curse. There's pros and cons to being someone who is very spiritually minded, that is delving into the how, the why, and you need to know all the fine tunings. And then there are other people who maybe view tarot reading and connecting with energy and all that as woo-woo, but they are just so adept at doing it naturally that they don't even consider it, and they very much enjoy the earthly human aspect of their journey. And there's some people who really have a hard time incarnating with a lot of the energies that you experience on this planet. And it's because you come from a place that, you know, maybe you connect with different source energy. And so, yeah, not for everybody, but that's definitely just, I want to make sure everyone feels included on this. But yeah, so also, you know, with the reversed magician, it can be really about being unsure of how to call in what it is that you want. And so if you're running into that, my advice is to slow down and reconnect with the how, the why. You know, why do I want to call this in? How is it going to make me feel? And really use your senses to connect. And your intuition will lead you to the blockage. Yeah. Also, you know, if you are feeling like you're trying to call something in and it's not coming, or you're not seeing signs of it, or maybe the magician is reversed, it could be potential redirection again. Even if you think that you see everything clearly, the divine could be telling you, honey, no, this isn't actually what you want. So, yeah, but at its worst, at its absolute worst, the magician reversed is going to point out to someone who is trying to maybe be manipulative, or has very like greedy, egoic goals in mind. And so, so, for example, like if you were going to get into a deal with somebody, or you were going to engage in a contract and the magician came out reversed, that would be a telltale sign to really fine comb and look at that contract, or to really re-examine all of the energetics behind that person, what their motivations are, and really it's kind of like a big stop, reevaluate sign. So, but nonetheless, when the magician comes out at all, you are looking at someone who is very talented, very skillful, and has a lot of capabilities. Whether or not they're maximizing that for a good or bad way is up for your intuition to decide. Yeah. So I think that this is, at its core, this is a card of potential. This is a card of potential, baby, and you've got potential. Oh. If you're enjoying this series, thank you so much. Yeah, we have the High Priestess coming up next. So I will see you guys tomorrow. I love you.